All right, well, let's move on. Want to talk our Chaos of War segment this week. We're going to talk about what the meta looks like without Jango. Chaos of War segment. Tonight we're going to be talking about set 4 week 412 tournament results. This is the first week we do not have Jango, and there is no major tournaments. This week and next week are very silent on major tournaments, but we got a bunch of store showdowns. There's a 1K that happened, and we're going to cover a little bit of that. So you can kind of see some of the winners. There's a CAD data vault in there, which is hilarious. I guess it makes sense because you can add even more bounty hunter garbage into your deck and Underworld. So I did not pick that deck to look at. Maybe we should have, but as you can see, a couple of Quinlins making the rounds, a couple of Cads. There's a blue Palpatine that made that 1-1. Sabine got a couple of wins, and then of course good old Han Yellow, especially this red cap corner. Like that's definitely that one is understandable that's like Han Yellow. So let's just get into the Missy K is the first one I kind of chose. This was the Quinlan Tarkin Town. This is not like super different, I don't think, than the one that they were running again without Jango. That Radiant is definitely a spicy new edition card.
Man, I love the Radiant so much. I've always championed that card. I love that card.
Yeah, I have that in my my Boba deck still, even though like getting to 7 resources is like hell with Boba, but I have that in my Boba deck. So I don't know, Alex, why don't you take this one? Let's actually go through this list because I just want to talk through a little bit of some of the strategy of this list, because you'll probably be facing this list quite a bit.
Sure, this is Quinlan Tarkin Down. Very much targets the hand. That's kind of the shtick. It's got a triple force throw, double the hotshot blaster, triple A-wing, triple L3, triple Sabine, the 2-cost one, I guess, because this is yellow deck. So triple the X-34 land speeder, double bamboozle, triple sparkler bellion, triple surprise strike, triple Cassian, triple Ezra, triple the 3-cost yellow falcon, double red 5, double waylay, triple 4-cost Ahsoka, triple Kira, triple Plo, double the 7-cost Han, and then a Radiant 7. In the sideboard, you got triple Jam Communications, just specifically for us, Tanner.
Yep.
Double the Disabling Fang Fighter, double Tech, double of the Shadow Hover Tank, the 5/3 Ground Sentinel for 4, and then one more 7-cost Han Solo to round out. And again, it's make your hand very small. Try to exhaust some stuff, and just hit for as much damage as you can. Really fast. I've played a very similar version of this. Mine's a little bit different. But yeah, it's very effective. It's very annoying to go against.
Yeah, and it's funny because pillage was always in these decks, and look, there's no pillage. Not even the sideboard. There's no pillage.
I wouldn't run pillage in this either. I don't have it in mind, even in the sideboard either. It's just like, well, like at this point, really, this is discarding 2 cards out of their hand worth 4 resources when I can just play an Ahsoka and rip one randomly, or well, I mean, they decided, but like random to me, or like Kira, so I can see their hand and just pump up whatever they had want them to play.
Yeah. So I do like it. The deck does have spice to it, right? Like, especially if you go into the later game, you could play a Cassian for 5, and then you can smuggle out a hotshot blaster on them, and like there's some weird, dirty things that this deck can do. It's a little funny. There's no pilots. Like, I would at least like expect like maybe a 1 Han in there or something. Like a Han pilot would be very, very good because it's an ambush unit, as well as a Falcon, can go on that Falcon. But
sure, but like Plo Koon hits much harder.
I guess that's true.
For the same cost. Like only having 3 Falcons, I think I'm more down on the 5-cost Han unit than most people anyways, Han pilot, but you only have 3 Millennium Falcons and that's the only marginal benefit you get out of it, like special benefit as opposed to just normal pilot. So I'd rather play Plo Koon, who hits much harder, and then also in Quinlan, you can hit the 7 health 5 cost leaders like an opposing Quinlan, and one shot him with Plo Koon or something like that, like Bosk or whatever. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right. The next one we have, JJ, is a Sabine Tarkentown, which this was the number 2 list at that Misty 1K, and it even has a green card in it. Which is just I don't whatever. This is this is a JJ deck right here. This has got like a bunch of 2 costs and 1 cost. Like
exactly.
So what is this deck? This is definitely different than the red Target or the red Sabine we talked about before. So
yeah, for sure. So this one definitely really interesting here. So we got 3 copies of Benthic 2 tubes, 2 Crackshot V-Wings, 2 copies of Mr. Bones. Thank you. That is a great add-on, by the way. I love that, Mr. Bones. 3 copies of R2-D2, 3 copies of Soldier of the 501st. We got 2 Spec Force Soldiers, 2 daring raids rather, 1 heroic sacrifice, 1 rebel assault. That's the off color one here, where you're paying 3 for rebel assault there, but we'll come back to that in a minute. 3 heroic resolves, 1 Bo-Katan Kryze, 2 green squadron A wings, 2 red squadron Y wings, 3 copies of Sabine Wren, 1 copy of Arm to the Teeth. That's definitely a choice. 2 Twice the Pride, 3 copies of Cassian Andor and Fighters for Freedom, 2 copies of Fleet Lieutenants and Red 3 and Wing Leader, a copy of Chaos of War, 1 K2 SO, and 3 copies of Aggression. And then on the sideboard, we have an additional copy of Twice the Pride, 2 more Armed to the Teeth, and then we have an additional Spec Force Officer, Rebel Assault, Chaos of War, 3 copies of Pillage, and then finally the last one there is another copy of System Shock there. So I do understand why they want to get that out of aspect Rebel Assault, right? You have plenty of Rebel units where you can really take advantage of it and get like some big hits on it. The only problem with it though is that the majority of your Rebel units are going to be higher costed, right? So you got the majority of them coming in on your 3 and 4 cost plays, which you're probably waiting to play this on a turn 5 or probably a turn 5 after you deploy Sabine on the board there.
I think all of them are rebel except for Bo.
No, majority of their low cost ones like Mr. Bones, the Crackshot V-Wing,
exactly,
the 501st Soldier,
exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those low cost, they're good for the beginning, right? Those first play cards to go in there, but they're not going to benefit much from that Rebel Assault, right? So you're talking about like turn 4 or 5, when assuming that you have, your Sabine Ren generic in there, and then your leader out there, and then maybe a Cassian Andor if you don't smuggle him. Those units would benefit from it, or the Green Squadron A-Wing on space as well, that would benefit from it. So this is playing a little bit more. I guess it's kind of like reassurance, right? And I guess that's why you only have 1 copy of Rebel Assault in that case. So it's still kind of an odd choice, but still, when it does go off, it is pretty nice there. And then, of course, having Tarkentown to help take out any potential Sentinels that could prevent you from getting that damage into base is also nice as well, along with Heroic Resolve. So it's definitely a fun list. I would definitely try this out to see how well it does. I do think that this is something that likes to play pretty aggressively and pretty hard, especially if you manage to keep that 2 tubes out there reliably to keep on pumping up their damage as they're putting in damage into the base. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, remember, you're also paying 3 for the Rebel Assault too, so it's kind of wonky. I played a little bit of mono like Tarkentown Sabine last set. And it was mostly similar to this. I mean, there's only so much you could do with them. Double red in the first 3 sets, right? A lot of Bo-Katan, a lot of Mr. Bones, all that kind of stuff. But also, man, not having like a Darksaber in here is a little bit weird to me too.
Yeah.
Granted, you only have one Bo-Katan, but it's like usually it's like, hey, your Bo-Katan, your Sabine. I had Katsu in mine, and the Sabine leader. They're all Mandalorians that you can stick that onto, which was nice. I mean, I guess you kind of have twice the pride, which is you don't have a lot of high health units for that, but it's also technically removal, sort of, because you can attach it to your opponent's stuff and deal 2 damage to them, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
What is this, a control deck now?
Hey, I have killed things with twice the pride, like out of necessity. Sometimes you just gotta just be like, oh, they swung in and killed like my Sabine leader or something, and they have 2 health left. I guess I'll just throw twice the pride on there. But it's not its main purpose. Don't get me wrong. I've done it before. I wouldn't put twice the pride in the stack though, because you already have armed to the teeth.
Oh, my top end is one K2SO. Like, that's it. Like, yep. I don't know how this doesn't run out of cards. That's just like, I guess you could draw off the aggressions, and that makes sense. But like, I can see why this would lose to Quinlan, because Quinlan just goes, "Oh, you don't get that card anymore. Oh, you don't get that card."
Yeah,
it's interesting. I think there's stuff you could work with the shell. Man, I'm just not a big fan of. What do you mean you only have one Bo-Katan? You 3/3 that draws you a card once you hit 15 on either of your bases.
Yeah, she always goes off if you play her late game. It's just period. So, and you're right. Yeah, the dark saber type thing is something that's an easy, just like, here, let me attach that to you.
And then it just become a 7/6 that gives out experience to Sabines.
Yeah. Cool deck. The next one is a Boba Fett Mos Eisley. So this one's not super different. I just wanted to look at it without the triple dark raid. Like, what does it look like? We have a couple of locals and some, other viewers that have mentioned, I have always been very high on Boba, trying to get it to work. I would love to have a Boba yellow that works, so I think it's better to just go Boba red right now. It feels like it has more to it, and I think next week you'll probably, I don't know if I'll have it done by next week or not, but I've been tweaking and playing around with my Boba red deck. But anyway, this has got the 3 First Order troopers, 3 Daring Raids, 3 of the Allegiant Prides, 3 Kylos, 3 of the Zygerian Starhoppers, 2 No Goods, 2 Sneak Attack, which is surprising because like they cut triple dark raid and didn't add a 3rd Sneak Attack in. So
yeah.
3 Surprise Strikes, 2 Bobas, 3 of the Droid missile platforms, 3 Guerrilla Insurgents, 2 Waylay, 3 Fets, 3 IG-2000s, 2 Boba Pilot, 1 Old Fire Spray, 3 of the Ruthless Raiders, 3 Radiants, and 3 Devastators. Your sideboard is 1 No Disintegration, 1 more Boba Fett, 1 more No Good to Be Dead, 3 Commandeer, 1 Vader, and 3 Planetary. Which the Planetary makes sense in the side. I get that, but like, there's no Torpedo Barrage in here. It looks like they've cut Torpedo Barrage. So like, it's like they're putting units on the board versus doing a lot of the indirect damage. So now we just have the villain yellow red shell that has indirect damage kind of as a secondary option. It looks like.
I always actually kind of preferred having the more units than the Torpedo Barrage, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I've been testing this. My version is a little different. I'm playing They Hate That Ship and Bib. Then it doesn't work very well. So don't do it. Like, it's not consistent enough.
You can give them 2 TIE fighters, so you can play the same cost thing.
Well, it reduces it by 1, so it's like 1 cost reduction. So I tried it. Well, the Sneak Attack's the same way. I mean, Sneak Attack is
right.
A 1 cost reduction. So like, it's the same thing, except for now my Sneak Attack's better, and my They Hate This Ship is like extra sneak attacks, but you have to give them TIE fighters. So I don't know. Somebody did that to me in my Vader deck, and I was super happy to have extra TIE fighters. So I was like, oh, thank you.
I'm just glad to see triple Radiant 7.
Yeah. And see, and I'm only running 2, but like the Radiant 7 in this Boba deck is very, very good. Especially like if you don't want to flip your boba or put your boba on the ground or something like that, that Radiant 7, when that thing comes in, like, and then does a 5 interact, and then you can flip your boba onto it and just like reduce their output. Like, you can just make the whole board stop hitting you completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just done. They're just done. So if they could kill you by 7 resources, then all right, fine, you're out of luck. But if they can't kill you before then, like,
Honestly, I'd probably have also the Planetary Bombardment main deck, probably like 2 of them, just because it dumps 12 damage. You don't even need to like necessarily have the Devastator, even though that's like the dream. Just doing 6 to 12 damage that they have to distribute can be pretty backbreaking. Like, it'll speed the game up real fast if they dump that into their base.
yeah, that's what I did in my deck. I cut my Devastators and started running 3 Planetary Bombardments in the main board instead, because then it gave me another option on that 6 resource churn. If they keep killing my ships and I can't deploy Bulba onto something, at least I can do something. Like, at least I have something to do 8 damage with. So.
Yeah, I'd probably cut like 1 Devastator, 1 Radiant, add 2 Planetaries, then bump up the 6 cost yellow Fast Fire Spray to 2 and just run a 51 card deck.
Yeah. So it's a neat deck. I don't know. We were talking to Star Wars Dad online a little bit on our YouTube page, and he's running like Vader's main deck, and he says he's having a lot of success with the Vaders and the sneak attack. So now that you don't have to deal with the triple dark raid, right? Like, you can sneak out a Vader on the ground. Like that, yep. He says that's actually been really good for his Vader. So
yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask. Is like, is it worth considering putting Vader in the main deck for it? Because I think he would be a really good inclusion there. I just don't know what I would sub out in order to put him in there. I mean, he's pretty choice. Decent. Yeah,
you'd probably have to go either Vaders or Radiants, or like Vaders or Fast Fire Sprays. I messed around with some Vaders in my Boba deck as well, and I like them. It's just sometimes I got to make cuts, and sometimes it's a Vader. I'm still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, let's move on to the next tournament. This was an 84-player store showdown, right? That's nuts. That's crazy. That's like a PQ size almost.
Damn. Yeah.
So congrats to whatever store in France that is. You had an 84-person store showdown. Like, could you imagine like rolling up thinking you're gonna play against maybe 20 or 30 people, and there's like almost 100 there, and you're like, oh, that sucks. So I'm playing for these Devastator cards. Oh no.
This was like what, like four less players than like our PQ at Lansing.
Yep. So imagine
scheduling a store showdown. You're just like, yeah, guys, we have to do like 8 rounds of Swiss or whatever, or like total between the whole tournament. It's wild.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do we want to cover the whole Sabine deck? I mean, it is a little bit different, in fairness, than like what we had been seeing.
We've gone over Sabine deck, and I think now that Jango's out, you can play more aggro more consistently, and Sabine's usually the front runner for that.
All right, why don't you hit that up, because this one's a little bit different. Yeah. No Dark Sabers is crazy to me.
Yeah, I know.
It's got something very similar, which you saw at the very tail end of set 3. Anyway, so this is Sabine ECL, tried and true. This has triple pilot R2D2 and then triple regular R2D2. Triple Rebel Assault, 1 timely intervention, triple Battlefield Marine, triple the Green Squadron A-Wing, triple Pilot Luke, triple the Phoenix Squadron A-Wing, double Sabine, triple Cassian, triple Fleet Lieutenant, triple Wing Leader, triple For a Cause, triple General's Blade, triple K2SO, double Chewbacca pilot, triple Poe, triple Wrecker. In the side, you have triple Confiscate, a 2nd timely intervention, double Chaos of War, which is really interesting because that's off aspect, double Bright Hope, and double Champ's Dula. So, I mean, it's kind of what you'd expect, I guess, out of a Green Sabine.
Not a chance. Not the Chaos of War. I don't know what the hell that
Chaos
is.
of War. Yeah, that's a little bit that's a little out there for what we've seen. But
I mean, you just started with Poe, right?
Maybe they just hate Bosk. and want to do like 8 damage to his base because he's got all these cards. That would be my
fair.
assumption,
That's
honestly. Or like, I don't know, they let us draw the 3 cards with Trench, and now Trench actually has a hand.
Yeah, there's nothing like super crazy in here other than like not having the Dark Sabers is definitely different. Usually you see the Dark Saber over the General's Blade, but I guess it makes sense to have it. Whatever. I mean, it's what 1 damage extra, so you could play it for one
less cost too.
Yeah, you can play it for 1 less cost, but then it gives you discounts, so you can kind of mess around with things that you want to do a little bit easier.
Yeah, but just you're not playing it for its ability because literally no card in this deck is a Jedi, right? So it doesn't have and that one's the required of the Jedi one. It's not the Jedi lightsaber, so it's just you just get the +3/+3.
So I don't know, like there's nothing like super fancy. Only 2 Sabines is wild to me though. Like I would be running 3 Sabines if it were me, but
yeah, I'd probably cut like one of the pilot R2D2s or one of the regular R2D2s for Sabine.
Mm-hmm. She's just so good, like in this deck,
especially if like shield aggro Gar Saxon or just shield aggro stuff in general still sticks around, where Sabine could just be like, I ping off your shield and then do 2 damage, and your Crafty Smuggler or your Krennic or whatever is dead now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't personally see the value in the R2 pilot in the long run of things. Like I guess it's a free card. Like traditionally we see Metal Ceremony in there, right? Like, and that's in my opinion, that's the first thing I would be putting in there. I would be putting 2 Metal Ceremony and then the 3rd Sabine. Like that's how I would run that. Or cut the timely, I guess.
Yeah. Your R2D2 pilot does mess with a lot of math, right? Like if you play like an A-Wing and they play an A-Wing, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, we're good. I can just play my R2D2 pilot, and then my A-Wing will live through the other A-Wing's attack. So I can see why it'd be useful. Like it does mess with some things on your early space turns.
Yeah, it's not my style. I don't know. I think with a control brain sometimes, like I just sit there and go, "Oh, good for you! You put an R2D2. That ship's gonna die next turn."
My control brain is like, "Why am I playing this? It depends on my game state. What if I don't have a unit? Then it's useless." But then it's like, normally
never
you actually
happens.
do have units.
Well,
JJ, looks like you're going to say something. Sorry.
Go ahead, JJ.
No, I was agreeing with you guys, and just I like the composition of this one here. Just having just that nice balance, or having more additional options in both the space side as well. With the additional A-Wings in there, and then adding in those pilots to just buff them up. I think that this is a really good variation of the Sabine deck, and I think the General's Blade is a good call to replace the Dark Sabers for Sabine in particular. And I would definitely like to play this list. It's pretty fun.
All right, we'll move on to the runner-up. Was a Bosk blue, so I guess maybe that Chaos of War came in handy. So JJ, you want to run through this deck? This one's like almost. Okay, this deck is almost identical to the one we covered last week, and this one does not have like this. They only have 1 restock. Period.
Yeah.
Nothing in the sideboard. They have Chams in the sideboard. Like, is that just for the boss screens that can all ramp you? Is that why you're worried about
Piats.
it? Piats, I guess.
Stuff,
Yeah.
And the 4 of us that play Palpatine.
All right, cool. So we got 1 copy of Restock, 3 top targets, 3 Dr. Pershings, 3 copies of Deathmark and Entrenched, 1 copy of Tech, 3 Decliants, 3 Merciless Contests, 3 Open Fires, 3 copies of Power of the Dark Side, Perilous Position, and Takedown, 3 copies of Vigilance and No Glory Only Results. We also have 3 copies of Emperor Palpatine, Supreme Leader Snoke, and Super Laser Blast, and then finally 3 copies of Avenger. And then in the sideboard, we got 3 Champs and Doulas, 3 Felder Dragons, 2 copies of the Crate Dragon, and then the last one is the
Bounty Hunters crew, baby.
Yeah.
Get my events back.
I was gonna say that's actually a really interesting choice for this particular deck. Even playing it out of aspect, but it's still a worthy addition for this boss deck here. Still very good. Typical boss control deck. You're able to clamp down your opponent, put in those bounties in there, take them out, keep healing up your base until you're able to play out your finishers between Palpatine, Snoke, and Avenger. You can easily clamp down on your opponent and just crush them with overtime, and then Super Laser Blast is your get out of jail free card in case they end up deploying like 17 TIE fighters on you in one turn. But yeah, definitely a pretty decent Bosk list. I am interested to see how it played versus Sabine, because I feel like it should have the ability to take on Sabine, but I guess if you end up with the wrong card draw, if you're not able to play, if you keep on getting your big units in your hand in the beginning and not able to control Sabine's units, Sabine can put in a lot of damage into you really quick before you can like recover from that. So I wonder if that was one of those cases there, but still pretty strong list for Bosk.
Yeah, especially if they ramp up with that if you get a Chewbacca on a ship and then like they have like another units like that Sabine list is like, there you go. That, I guess that's the answer to the R2D2s, is that's like how they can answer some of the boss. A lot of times that's what Sabine was doing, is like figuring out how to go lower to the ground with it. So like on turn 2 you could play 2 units. But I don't know. Like traditionally Bosk Blue, I would say at least had like a 45 to 50% chance beating Sabine no matter what. So I just so you know, I ran Bounty Hunter Crew main deck when I played Bosk last PQ season. So but that was just me.
You've been out of aspect?
Out of aspect, yep. Ran it at a 6 cost. Because typically all I care about is super laser blasting the board, and then next turn I'm just playing that guy to ambush into one of their units and getting my super laser blast back. That's all I care. That's what I'm using it for. I did it with Vigilance too, but
yeah, it's like main decking it a little bit strange. Sideboarding, you've seen it in a lot of sideboards, usually with like mono blue Iden and stuff like that, you know, to recur your super laser blasts and your vigilance and all that kind of stuff.
All right, well let's move on. The deck that I wanted to cover from that tournament that I thought was a little bit interesting was the Piat Blue. This also made top 8. Normally we wouldn't cover like we covered a Piat Blue before, but this, like, now that we're post Jango, this, I think Piat actually has play again. And while Piat Red is the fun version, I would consider Piat Blue probably the better version right now. At least going into like other aggro type stuff. So this deck has 3 Pershings, 3 Jaegers, which I've not seen anybody play before, but it's got 3 Jaegers. I guess it's like a 2-3 on the ground, right?
Sure. And it's a pilot. If you have a ground unit, you give your spaceship Sentinel.
Yeah.
So that's also a thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's different. 3 regional governors, 2 preparing for takeoffs, 3 super laser techs, 1. I don't even know that guy's name. What is that guy's name? Tar? Is that what his name is?
Oh, Tam.
Tam.
Vidra. I don't know the last name pronunciation. Tam. That's the one that when you attack, they get -1/-1.
Gotcha. 1 client, 2 Power of the Dark Sides, which is wild to me too. 3 resupplies, 3 surprise strikes. So we have one.
Strike true.
Sorry. Yeah, strike true. The one that basically you do damage based on like your power to something else. But okay. Anyway, we'll keep going. 1 Remnant Reserve, 3 of the Corvuses, 3 Super Laser Blasts, 3 Resupply Carriers, 3 of the Fleet Interdectors, 2 Turbo Laser Blasts, 2 of the Quintus Assault Carriers, Arkenton, whatever. Yeah. What did I call it? Arcadius. I'm gonna call it Arcadia. It's the Arcadius ship.
Jesus.
2 Super Laser Blasts, 2 Avenger, 1 Relentless, 2 Devastator, and 2 Annihilator. And their sideboard is even crazier. Their sideboard is 1 restock, 1 extra prepare for takeoff, 1 of the Corona ships, because like I guess one. I don't know why that's in there, but 1 Corona ship, Their third power of the dark side, 2 of the clients, 2 more remnant reserves, 1 takedown, and 1 other turbo laser blast.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Outlaw Corona mainly because it's a cheap capital ship for Piet, but
It's a one-off. It's a one.
Your side.
Like what are you doing with it, right? Like, I know what it's there for. Like, I ran it when it first came out, and then the worst part is the Sabines and the Hans would kill this stupid thing, and then next thing I know, they've got another resource, and I do not need that.
Sack and confiscate over the Corona.
Yeah.
If you're really that concerned. This is kind of a wild blue Piet deck. I mean, like, I run Corvus in mine, but I also had like the CR90s because I like healing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Different philosophies.
I have Idens in there as well. In my I don't actually even run clients in mine. I don't see a point in the clients. I'd rather have Iden. Because the Corvus can just pick Iden up if you're lucky enough to have Iden on the ground at that time.
I actually just don't run either. my blue. But I also like main deck triple Krennic because a lot of my stuff in that deck, not so much in this one, but a lot of stuff in mine have like when defeated effects.
Yeah.
So
neat deck. I don't know. We'll move on to the red cap corner in New Jersey store showdown. No surprise there that a Han Yellow took first place. Alex, what is the new Han Yellow that we're seeing now without DJs in it?
They just kind of took a couple of cards from their sideboard and put it in the main deck. But sure, this one's actually it's interesting. There's some interesting, cool things, I guess. So yeah, Han Yellow, 30 health base. There was one that had like the Bat Village, which was interesting. This one is just double Hotshot Blaster, triple of the L3, double a New Adventure main deck, which is pretty interesting. Triple Surprise Strike, double Jetpack, triple Bodhi, triple Ezra, triple the Liberated Slaves, triple the 3-cost Yellow Falcon, triple Tech, triple Waylay, double Ahsoka, triple Kira, triple Cunning, double Cantina Bouncer, double of the Mandalorian, double Zori, double the 6-cost Falcon, double Ephes Nest, the hero one, and then double Han. In the side, you have triple Bamboozle, triple Spark, double Change of Heart, and double Final Showdown.
Which is hilarious.
Yes, I love that. It is kind of interesting that this deck basically forces you, unless you pull like an L3, to resource your first turn to play anything, because the only 2 drops are your L3s. So it's like first turn you're trying to go for Bodhi, Ezra, Falcon. Any of those, I think, would probably be your best bets. Obviously, the Falcon probably your best bet.
Or it's the liberated people also as well, like, because that one can't be Tarkin Town. That's why that's the tech against the Tarkin Town BS, right? Like, if they want to
just let them kill my first turn play, it's fine. I don't care. If I play Bodhi, I already ripped a card out of their hand. I don't need the 3/3 anymore if they're gonna blow Tarkin Town on something like Bodhi. Oh well, like this Han deck should be able to like not really care if they Tarkin Town their first thing, unless it's like Ezra, because that's like actually kind of rough, or the Falcon, I guess. But yeah, you could probably come back from it.
Yeah, I like this deck a lot. This is actually the first deck that I thought of, post Jango being banned. Is this style list, right? You have a lot of different options here, a lot of flexibility to have some really great early plays, and then you have some really great closers on there. Mine was a little more balanced for space than they are, but I still like the composition of this deck a lot. Just having a lot of great options here early on, or mid game rather, to help control the board and keep your units out there. The longer your opponent takes to take out your list, the stronger you get here. So yeah, that's good.
The a lot of smuggle in this too, so probably into like a good like heavy hand destruction like Quinlan deck. You do have smuggling on a lot of your cards, like the 6-cost Falcon, Zori, obviously Tech, and also that gives everything smuggle. You actually have the jetpacks, the L3 hotshot blasters, bunch of really. So it's nice that they built that in to the deck.
Yeah. I think that's where you see a little bit more success with the Han right now, is because you can do some of those crazy things with it. And yellow has a lot of really good smuggle cards. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. We have an Obi Green was the runner up there. Definitely a different Obi Green than we talked about last time. This one is a little bit different.
Much more of an Obi-Wan deck that I would run.
Yeah, this feels a little bit more Sentinel-ish than some of the other decks that we've seen. So, JJ, what is this deck?
So we got 3 copies of Battlefield Marine and Luke Skywalker, 3 copies of the Phoenix Squadron A-Wings and Restored Oryx, 3 copies of Blue Leader and Concord Darn Interceptors, 3 copies of Hu Young and Sindari Peacekeepers, 3 Jedi Lightsabers, and 2 copies of Perilous Positions, 3 copies of Bright Hope and Kanan Jarrus, and then we got 2 copies each of Takedown and Fill the Dragon, 2 The Forces With Me, and 2 Chewbacca's, 2 General Rakens, and 3 Luke Skywalker ground units, and then 2 U-Wing reinforcements. And then on the sideboard, we got 2 home ones, 1 additional Chewbacca, 1 additional Fellow Dragon, 3 scanning officers, and 3 confiscates on the sideboard there. Definitely, yeah, very heavy on the Sentinel piece there, between all the space units that can have that Sentinel piece, and then of course you got your ground units that can do a fair amount of attacking on their end there. I guess you're just trying to prevent your space units or your enemy space units from just overrunning you, and just having those Concordon Interceptors and the Bright Hope from allowing your units or your opponent's space units from coming in there and then just attacking from the ground there. Definitely has a bit of a control piece too, with all the different units to or cards to take down and fell the dragon your opponent's big units out there. And then Perilous Position is always a classic to just help neuter your opponent's offense or just straight out kill something really quick. I do like this a lot. It does play into Obi's ability to constantly heal damage from those sensor units if your opponent's not able to kill it outright there. And between the different restores they have on and the list as well, you just regenerating all that health, making it difficult for your opponent to take this out really quick. So I like the composition of this list a lot. It's pretty good.
No Yodas. No Yoda and no Rivals Fall seem wild to me.
Yeah, and I kind of expected to see the old Obi-Wan in here as well, but still, I mean, General Raken is a nice add-on for this.
Yeah, I mean, you also have Obi-Wan leader himself, which helps out a lot.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of the Forces With Me. I am in the minority opinion on that. I almost never have it in any of my decks.
I mean, it depends, right? You know, if you don't have many Force units, then I would say yeah. But in this one here, you got.
I mean, you got a bunch.
Yeah, you got a bunch. I mean, yeah.
I understand that. I just never felt like it's worth its cost. But that again, I'm in like the minority opinion. I do not like that card. So yeah, those could be Yodas. I don't care. Or like Fells or
Fells,
Rivals or whatever. You know, home ones. It is kind of weird to me that they don't have either Redemption or Home One in the main deck. Usually, you're on one of them. I get the Home Ones on the side, but you know, stick a Jedi lightsaber on an Obi-Wan leader, and your opponent just has a really rough time doing anything.
So, all right, it's a neat deck. Definitely different than what we had seen before. The fourth place winner has a Luke Pilot 30 health blue base. I was like, all right, this is I've not played this at all, so let's cover this because he's got Anakin unit in there, and I can't wait to have that conversation in a minute. So this deck has 2 Force Throws, 2 Trench Runs, 2 of the A-Wings, 3 of the Red Y-Wing Bombers, 3 Restore Arcs, 3 Sabines, 2 of Luke's lightsaber, which I get it a little bit because you have 4 targets for it, but Jedi lightsaber is also in there. I don't know. Feels a little overkill. 2 Cassians, 2 or 3 Concords, 3 of the Red 5s, 3 Yoda, 3 of the 4 Cause, 2 Jedi lightsabers, 3 K2SOs. There's your favorite card, Alex. The Force is with me. 2 of those, 2 Anakins, 2 Obis, Aether Sprites, 3 Obi-Wan ground units, 2 Rivals Fall, and 3 Luke Skywalkers. Your sideboard is 2 Techs, 3 of the Village People, 2 Crate Dragons, and 3 Fang Fighters. That is probably the first sideboard that I have seen that I actually agree with. Overall, actually, that is a sideboard 100% that I can get on board with every one of those cards.
Yeah.
The Luke's lightsaber is wild to me, but I guess it's still a lightsaber that's a +3/+1, right? But
yeah, and you got 3 Lukes, and if you have to deploy Luke on the ground, your leader,
yeah,
it's not a bad card. But also just attaching it to like a Yoda is a pain because it just becomes a 5/5 restore too.
Yeah, I almost just feel like I like the I would rather have 1 extra Cassian and 1 other Jedi lightsaber in that place. Or I guess you could get rid of the Forces with me. How about that? There you go. And there's no Kanans in this deck. They instead of Kanan, they have the Anakin Skywalker. Well, I guess there you go. He's a Force user too. I didn't think about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Force users. You got Yoda, Anakin, Obi, Luke, and then your leader Luke. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't run the Forces with me. I would probably actually swap it out for Kanan, or it's interesting. Also, I'm sorry, this is weird that they have Anakin Skywalker.
Yes, I don't know why.
I mean, he's a 6/6. You got coordinate. I guess you have a bunch of low cost stuff here. Kiadi Booty is also an interesting choice if you're trying to go for that. It doesn't work for a cause, but it does almost always draw you a couple cards if you have the coordinate anyways, right?
Yep. And that's a 5/7. So
and doesn't die to Plo Koon in 1 hit.
Yeah, exactly. So
but I like it. It's cool. I was toying around with Pilot Luke leader because I'm just one of my buddies just like, I haven't really found anything good with them. I'm just like, green seems easy and obvious, but blue might be interesting. A lot of good pilots in blue. Not that this deck has those blue pilots, but
yeah, if you think about it, it's kind of like the Anakin deck a little bit, except for it has flexibility for Luke as a pilot to do Luke shenanigans, but you're hitting for 1. So instead of you pinging your base, right, to be a little bit more crazy, you're pinging 1 to other units, which is kind of a thing. But you don't have a ton of fighters in there. I mean, I guess you could swing with your Concordon, right? I guess I've never in my life swung with a Concordon. Even if I miss the trigger, they claim and I still have it ready. Sometimes I don't even swing with it because I don't even think about it because I just never do it.
16 fighters, you got enough. You got plenty.
All right, but I don't know. I think that outside of that, I still think Luke being able to do those shenanigans is kind of nice. The ping, and you get to choose where the ping goes. So that's a lot better than the CAD where they get to choose and stuff like that. So
yeah, you do lose out on a lot of initiative though because you do have to use your action to exhaust them to do 1 damage.
Yep.
But sometimes 1 damage really matters.
Yeah, especially if they have a sentinel you had to get around, or if they have something on the ground where you need to be able to clear the way make sure they don't take your Yoda off the board.
If you want to ping a shield off something and then swing into it with a different unit.
Yeah. I like the deck.
Yeah.
The other one I wanted to cover was a Kaz thermal oscillator because the thermal oscillator I'm not 100% sold on over just the red base, but whatever. I do genuinely like Kaz as a leader, and I do think red seems to be the most viable that we've seen at least now. And this deck is kind of wild because this deck is very event heavy, which I'm not sold on an event heavy Kaz deck. There's more events I think in this deck between the sideboard and mainboard than there is units.
Yeah, there's 24 units in a 45 card deck.
Yeah.
And oh man, I would hate to play a thermal oscillator Kaz and just draw 6 events. I'd be so upset.
Yeah.
So anyway, Alex, why don't you cover it? I wanted to go over this
Yeah.
list because I do think this is an interesting take on Kaz Red.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. I also have a Kaz Thermal Oscillator. Mine has a lot more units than this, but this is, you got triple Heroic Sacrifice, triple They Hate That Ship, triple Trench Run, all makes sense. Triple Black One, triple Fireball, triple the Red Squadron Y-Wings. Perfect, that's fine, no notes. Triple Jump to Lightspeed. I like the cards, a little bit iffy. Triple Keep Fighting, triple Sneak Attack, triple Surprise Strike, triple the 3-cost Yellow Falcon, triple the Stolen AT Hauler, triple the Tactical Heavy Bomber, which I love that card. Triple of the Corporate Light Cruiser, that's the 4/6 Ambush Raid 1 for 6 ship, and then triple Home 1 goes really well with They Hate That Ship. In the sideboard, you have double Confiscate, double Snapshot Reflexes, double Swoop Down, double Bamboozle, and then double Commandeer. I feel like you'd get most of like half these cards in like a Garzaxon deck.
Yeah.
Not like a Kaz deck. It's wild.
Does this Kaz deck just like auto lose to control? Like, is this just like an auto loss? Like you're putting 1 or 2 ships on the board, maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah, I feel like if your opponent can't control the units that you're playing, this deck might suffer a little bit.
Yeah.
But maybe no one plays controlled by them. Who knows? Maybe like it's just too fast because reasons.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to have some pretty good luck getting cards out in the beginning, though. Like that's still risky, right? You have a very good chance of pulling nothing on your first hand in Mulligan, considering half your deck is more than half your deck is just pure events. So I'm sure there's been more than one time where they just simply didn't have anything to play first time, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
So I have a question, right?
Yeah, go on.
If you have that They Hate That Ship and that Tactical Bomber on Kaz's flip turn, that's doable, right? Like you can play that Tactical Bomber with They Hate That Ship and then throw Kaz on there, correct?
Yeah, I mean it knocks the cost off by 2, right? So
yep.
If you play They Hate That Ship, you're playing the Tactical Bomber, 3 resources or whatever.
Yep, and then you can play Kaz on there. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that Tactical Heavy Bomber is so nice with Keep Fighting and stuff, because I have a mono red Poe deck. That Tactical Bomber is huge, and then you also have, like, they don't have it here, which is kind of sad. Stay on target with indirect ships makes you, like, draw more cards, because that is the unit doing damage to the base with the on attack. Which is very funny with the Tactical Heavy Bomber, because they have to eat 5 indirect damage. If they put any of it on their base, you draw 2 cards to help fuel it. You don't really need it in a 45 card deck. But yeah, it works. Like that ship's really good. If they have 1 spaceship and you have 4 resources, you could play They Hate That Ship and then drop a home 1 on them, which is always very, very fun at 4 resources.
That's dirty.
I have done that.
Have you ever put Kaz on it then after that?
I didn't need to because I usually had Kaz on something else, because you're at 4 resources. So, like, I put them into a Falcon or a Fireball or something, and then also play They Hate That Ship in home 1. But I also have War Juggernaut in mind, because They Hate That Ship. They get the TIE Fighters first, because that's how it is on the card. Then you play the War Juggernaut, and you just kill the 2 TIE Fighters that they played.
Oh my god, you scummy bastard!
Yeah, well, it's in my blood.
Right. I like this. I like this list, but I would not run this many events either. I think I would drop the jump to light speeds. I don't know. Do you even need the sneak attacks? Like, do you just jump both of those for other units? I think that's what I do.
Yeah, the sneak attack is a little bit weird to me.
I was gonna say, I mean, there's edge cases, right, where you know that your opponent's probably gonna go in and take out that unit, so you just push it in and try to get as much damage out as much as possible. I mean, it is an edge case, but yeah, it is a little weird.
That's the same thing.
The Heavy Bomber's not bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I get it. Like, I do get it, because like people are telling me I should be running that in my Vader deck. And I don't, like I don't know what I would cut to put sneak attacks in, but I don't know. I like it. I think this is a good deck. This is the Kaz is like one of the leaders that we kind of. I believe Kaz was it could be one of the top leaders. He's got action cheating, and now that there's not a Jango to kill all his stuff or tap him down all the time, I think like he could be one of the first 4-cost pilot leaders that could break through in the meta. We'll see. So.
Yeah, and I did the calculations with 9 units and a 45 card deck. Like this, you'll get an opening place 76% of the time.
Is that the same as like 12 and a 50% deck? Or 12 and a 50 card deck?
12 and a 50, I think, is higher.
Okay.
12 and a 50 is 83%, 82%. So
that's pretty close.
I'm not sure if I want to give up the 6% in an aggro deck, though.
No. Well, I think that's where you just get rid of those jump to light speeds, right? And then like that's like you could put something out. There's lots of other things that you could put in there.
8 wings.
Yeah, that just fit in there.
It works with Trench Run and all that stuff too. They're fighters.
Yeah. But then if you redo your calculation, then are you over that 82% then technically?
Because you have a 45 card deck.
Yeah. So now you're probably closer to like that 90% range then, which then makes
87%. But like,
there you go.
That's plenty.
Yeah, that's really good. So I like it. I think that there's something there with that Kaz deck. And I think your Dirty Mind and they hate that ship and
Home Ones and War Juggernauts is super fun. Let me tell you, you should see the look on my opponents' faces.
Is it the same look they gave you when you play your trench deck and they cry a little bit?
No, they get up and leave if I play the trench deck, as they should.